Hi folks, with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about issues around the Australian federal election, which are coming up shortly. The electioneering is already in full swing, and I think it's in a couple of weeks' time. The election day takes place. Now, the parties of the left, the ones that are really sort of heavily on board with the globalist project and the mass migration project, they're pandering, to the migrants, the recent migrants, and they have these supposed town hall meetings, which are just stacked and rigged and scripted. I mean, the idea is anything organic in it is nonsense. But so they've got the Indian plants, the woman in. I have 5 children, and how will I ever pay for my medical bills? I want the government to pay for everything. Are you discriminating against me, you fucking fascist Nazi racist? And so, I mean, I say that, but so this is supposed to be some organic woman that just stands up with now these sort of things are all over. These plants are all over the place, and everyone you see is an immigrant with a thick accent that sounds like they arrived yesterday, and they're saying that I want more free stuff. I want free medical care. I want free this. I want free that. I should be guaranteed a job, and a job that allows me to not only have a good lifestyle here in Australia, but allows me to send money back to the village of my ancestors in India and so on. So my children are entitled to go to university for free because they're brown or something. It just goes on and on. The endless. Now you say that, well, that's some of it's sort of not wholly unreasonable. The cost of medical care is high. Well, no one's going to dispute that. Well, why is it high? Is it because millions upon millions of third world people with serious health problems are coming to Australia and using the healthcare system in a way that it was never designed for and never was imagined it would have been used? Is that the problem? Well, they don't see it that way. Now, these people, if you go onto the local sort of media, if you like, the local newspapers, the local media channels, where, for India or Pakistan or China or wherever, anything that is for recent migrants, and assuming you can get translation on it, then really it gets even worse. And if you look at the media coverage of, say, the Australian Indian, or the Indians in Australia, or the Indian overseas diaspora, they're beyond activist in their shrill screaming for freebies and handouts and so on. And they betray like a childlike understanding of money. White people have infinite amounts of money, and they should share it with us. The standard of living in the West is higher than it is in India, and that's wrong. The standard of living for everybody should be the same. And the fact that the West is richer must mean they did something wrong or bad to get it. Because in Indian sort of, or third world, but particularly the Indian thing, if you have more money than someone else, it's because you took it from someone else, not because you earned it or you worked hard or you started up a business. They don't understand the world in those, nor do they in China, by the way, or other third world. They don't see it that way. If you have more than the other guy, it's because you took it. You took it from other people. It's not because you worked hard or invented the cure for cancer or something. So their understanding, the Indian understanding, is white people are only rich because they stole it from other people. And that's wrong. That's bad. Therefore, when we go to a white country, be it Australia or wherever, then we're entitled to have the same outcomes as you white people, because that's then proof that we're stealing it back from you because you must have stealing it. Now, I've spoken to Indian business people who purport to be, sophisticated, well-educated. They've got a master's that they got in Australia or the West, and they see the world that way. You're sitting down having a chat to them, and they say, well, the world wealth, the wealth in the world should all be equal. There shouldn't be so much of it concentrated in the white countries. Now, when you get to, okay, why do you think it's concentrated in the white countries? Is it because of, the government, the rule of law, contract law, the homogeneity of society, the high trust in the society? Is it, do you think any of those things have, the advanced technical standards and so on, the merit of or what used to be anyway? No, none of that makes any difference. No, they just wave it away. No. The difference, the reason India is poor and America is rich is just because America stole. America must have stolen. That's the only way you can become rich, if you steal from other people. And that's very much their view. Even the people that you'd think would be rather sophisticated or have certainly a better understanding of that, or have a Western understanding, but they don't. Even the people that you'd say were among the best educated of the Indians. Obviously you get exceptions to that, but certainly the ones I mean, I haven't yet, and this is I haven't yet met an Indian, be they at the Brahmin at the apex of their the keepers of the knowledge, at the apex of the socioeconomic tree. I haven't yet met a single Indian that doesn't see the world as a fixed pot of money. The only way you get more is to take it from someone else. I haven't met one yet. Now, they must exist. Well, they do exist. Dinesh D'Souza in the United States, for example. But typically they're hard to find. And this is reflected in the media. So when Indians come to Australia, they see it as their right to take from white Australians to achieve equality of economic outcome. And only when they think they've achieved that, or they're fully satisfied they've achieved it, and not just economic outcome, equality of economic for them here in Australia, they got to send money back to the family and the village and the relatives in India. They have to have equality of outcome. Only then are the Indians satisfied that they're not being oppressed or being given the short end of the racist stick and so on and so forth. And this is again reflected in the media. So every issue that they're dealing with or thinking about or discussing regarding the Australian federal election, it's not about the policies, or it's not about higher standards of education. It's nothing to do with that. It's all to do with what they can get, what they can take, so they can achieve equal outcomes with white people as they see it, and they perceive that they're just taking from white people to balance the books. That's what it is. And none of them are talking about building wealth or creating wealth or bringing anything to the table. Nothing is being brought to the table. It's only about what they can take. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions, and I'm sure there are people that don't see it that way, from India or Pakistan or some other third world country. But that's the general thing. And the media supporting that diaspora, I think, fans the flames a bit. Are you getting equal outcomes with upper middle class white person? You're not. Well, that's fucking racism, and they're fucking Nazis, and we got to. And so the only way that these Indians and other third world diasporas think, the only way they can get something for themselves, the Middle Easterners and so on, Arabs, is that if they have their own representatives. So you're not an Australian, you're an Arab, wanting to make sure that the Arab diaspora in Australia gets everything it can get its hands on, and anything less is evil, fascist, Nazi racism. This is not a good place to be, and this is not democracy. I don't believe can function under these circumstances. Just can't. Democracy was built around the concept of homogeneity and single sort of purpose, and because of all these diasporas coming in, there are entire suburbs of Sydney where there are only Indians living there, or only Chinese, or only Pakistanis or something like that, or only Arabs, or only whatever. So and they're pleading and asking for special handouts and carve outs for their own diaspora. Screw everyone else. They just want it, and that's got to be, I think, spelling the end of democratic government, and certainly the end of the welfare state. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.